Now that the Beetle body has been separated, disassembled, moved, and stored, I can finally start work on the chassis. But I may have already started work on it.
I want to do this because I feel like it'll be satisfying.
Before the body was done, I couldn't help but touch the chassis. I wanted to make as much progress as possible.
Oh, this one's like Beetle too. I don't know if they did that. Oh, it's not coming off.
But now it's time to really make some progress.
The first thing off the chassis is the vice grips that have been left here for 30 years, along with the bolt to secure the engine, which is funny. Oh, that's a stud? Huh. Start her off.
While removing the rubber fuel line, it was funny to see a pencil shoved in it to stop the fuel from leaking out. For the chassis, I didn't really have a plan of the order of how things would come off. I just started taking things off and just went from there. I did forget to turn on my microphone again, so enjoy watching me remove the insulation and brakes while listening to some music. You already saw the driver's side, so we can quickly rip out the passenger side. Even though the tunnel is in great condition, the tabs holding the brake lines have severe rust and are going to have to be replaced. These brake lines were so rusty that if I tried to disconnect them or bend them, they would immediately snap and spill the brake fluid everywhere.
I just need you to get up and off. Ugh. There we go. All right. There we go. Just break it it off. There we go. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Remember how I said there was brake fluid in the lines, and I now removed all fittings from the master cylinder? Yeah, I sprayed brake fluid all over myself. But after that horrendous mistake, I was able to get out the pedal cluster as well as the master cylinder. With the whole braking system removed, most of it was trash, with only a few bolts, the master cylinder, and the pedal cluster being saved to rebuild later on. Next up is the front beam. I could take it off right now, but I want to take off some of the steering components because I think it'll be easier to break free some of the bolts while it's still attached to the chassis. These components include the steering dampener as well as the left and right tie rods. The front beam is secured to the chassis by 4 bolts, and with those out, this chassis won't be back on its 4 wheels until it is restored. After the front beam is the transmission and rear axles. For this, we need to disconnect the shift rod coupler and take out a bunch of bolts. To get to the bolts that secure the rear axle to the chassis, we have to take off the rear wheels. For each rear axle, the shock absorber as well as the 3 screws into the spring plate have to be taken out.
Okay. I don't like that one bit. There we go. Okay, 1 of 3. There we go. Come on. Give me a challenge. Actually, don't, please. I don't want to break the bolt. One more. Oh, there was a washer on that one? Huh. Well, that one had an extra washer, hopefully. Hey, one more. Going in a direction is better than no direction. Tighten this up a little bit. come on. Okay, that comes off, I guess. Now, how do you come out? Well, that was not the move. We also have the brake cable. Please hold. Doesn't help that I unbolted this before. I now know for the other side.
Now, I did forget about the e-brake cable, but that could be easily disconnected from inside the brake drum. Well, I thought it was going to be easy, until I tried to take off the rear axle shaft nuts, and then went to the manual and saw that they were torqued to 217 foot-pounds. And it was recommended that the car be on the ground.
I'm losing it over here.
We might need a socket, don't we?
Looks that way.
I might be forking over some money.
But even with a socket, it wouldn't budge.
Holy shit. Ruh-roh. Hey.
With this idea not working, there was only one thing left to do. Ignore it and make it a future me problem.
They're going to be replaced anyway. So fuck it. Hey, one out.
And with a clap, the passenger side is disconnected.
Good enough.
I also decided to use the bolt cutters on the clutch cable because it was so far gone.
That was trash. Oh. It was just a little suck.
Now that the chassis is stripped down, it's time to cut out the floor pans.
Clear? Clear! Clear! Should I clean up this gunk first, or just let it fly?
It's up to you. I would have pressure washed it before I started doing anything. I would have pressure wash would be the first thing.
As much as I wanted to power wash the Beetle before taking it apart, spraying rust and metal flakes everywhere would have been horrendous. So by vacuuming and sweeping everything up before power washing, there would be less stuff washed away. Right? Right?
Huzzah! Okay, one. There we go. Two. Very surprised at how easily those came out. I'm guessing some water got in previously, because it's a nice rusty watery slurry in there.
Ugh. Brother, ugh.
The wind made this audio absolutely horrendous, but it is now 2025, and I took everything else off of the chassis, so all I need to do is organize the hardware and then power wash the chassis. From the factory, the chassis has a tarboard insulation.
That works a charm.
Some of it came off easily, and even while I was taking it apart, but some was really stuck on there. Remember before I took the body off that I was talking about how the firewall bolts no longer connected to it?
I also have the firewall bolts, which are somewhere over there, which have conveniently become not important anymore.
Well, now it's time to deal with that issue.
Because you're just saying go like this, right? And just...
Yeah.
The bolts and threads that were inside the firewall had extreme corrosion, so the plan is to cut off as much of that as possible and then see if the bolt will come out.
It's through the bolt, at least.
Surprisingly, it worked really well.
That one I did cut deeper on, though. I did it on like an angle. There you go. I only had a few threads on there, but... Let me see if I just need to put some muscle into this one. I can see some rust that's like in the threads, I think. Like a little bit in there. Come on!
There it goes. I can see it now, trying to spin it.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of rust in there.
Who needs a gym?
That's what I'm saying. I just need to work on the cars more. Oh my God.
go. Yes. That needs to be cleaned up. Okay.
With the driver's side being a success, I moved on to the passenger side, which went just as well. Here, you could see what was stuck on the chassis. It was the threaded plate inside the firewall skin, as well as the body seal.
There we fucking go. So, I'm gonna power wash. Wow. So I'm gonna power wash the transmission and the front beam. But before that, I wanted to get off some of the parts that I'm not saving, such as the rear shocks.
I did do some more disassembly before power washing, but seeing as we're already 22 minutes into the video, I'm going to include the disassembly of the front beam and the transmission in their respective videos when I reassemble them. So stay tuned for those, and I can show you the aftermath.
So these are all the parts that are going to be trashed. The shocks, tie rods, shoes, bunch of bushings and brackets. And we have the few parts that will be saved. And then I could take apart the rest of it, but I should power wash it, so to get to the bolts and everything. So I think I'm going to power wash that, as well as the chassis, tomorrow.
Now that those are out of the way, it's time for the main event. While washing the chassis, there were three main areas of interest. Up front, the frame head had a lot of dirt, which is probably all that Georgia mud. The rear, which has a lot of grease from the transmission and engine. And then the inside of the tunnel, which sadly, during its time in the woods, it's definitely had some water exposure. Now, I knew the chassis was a little bit rusty, but I was not prepared for what was about to come out. Yeah, it looked like someone poured an iced coffee inside the chassis.
That is a Slurpee.
And the more I sprayed, the worse it got. The only thing that looked worse than the rusty soup that was coming out of the chassis is what was still stuck inside of it.
That's all in the tunnel. So, front beam is clean, so I can get off the control arms as well as the steering box, so that'll make it way easier. The spine is clean, way better than what it was. Like, all that grease on the back end is gone, as well as if you take a look down the inside, which I don't even know if I can do this. If I get a before and after. Can you even see in there? Probably not. Hello? There you go. It looks way better than what it did. I can probably show a photo of what it looked like earlier, but it looks way better. And then lastly, the transmission, which you can actually see that it's gray now, so that'll make it easier to take the axles out. So all three pieces are cleaned, and now I have to clean the driveway, which I've already been pressure washing everything down to the street because of the sheer amount of rust that came off of this thing. I'm gonna have to clean up for a while.
Not only did the rust come from the tunnel, but it came from the Napoleon hat, which is damaged beyond repair, as well as the front beam. But the metal work will start in the next episode.